Sociology of aging, the hidden reality of elder abuse and neglect. Often we perceive aging merely as the process of growing older, but it's far more complex than that. As individuals transition from young adulthood into their elderly years, their social roles and needs change profoundly. With age, social roles often change. This can lead to new vulnerabilities, which brings us to our main topic: abuse and neglect among the elderly. Abuse and neglect among elderly. What exactly is elder abuse? Elder abuse is defined as a single or repeated act or lack of appropriate action occurring within any relationship where there is an expectation of trust, which causes harm or distress to an older person. What is elder neglect? Elder neglect is a subtype of abuse defined as refusal or failure to fulfill a caregiving obligation, and it can involve either intentional distress or not. Now, let's look at the different types of elder abuse and neglect. First, physical abuse causes pain, injury, or impairment to an elder, with examples including hitting, pinching, or pushing. It can also involve confinement or restrainment. Next is sexual abuse, which involves non-consensual sexual contact with an elder, including forcing an elder to undress or watch explicit sexual images or videos. Emotional abuse, also referred to as psychological abuse, includes yelling, threatening, intimidating, ignoring, or using hurtful words. Then there is financial abuse, which is the misuse of an elder's finances or property. This can include theft, scams, fraud, checks written without permission, or charging for inappropriate services. Finally, neglect occurs when a caregiver fails to fulfill obligations to meet an elder's needs, such as failing to provide adequate shelter, food, hygiene assistance, medication, and health care. Where does abuse happen? Unfortunately, it can occur in various settings: in the elder's own home, in institutional care facilities, and even in hospitals. Risk factors of elderly abuse. First, too many children. No responsibility. In families with many children, responsibility for caring for elderly parents is often passed around. This can lead to neglect for elderly. Second, financial pressure. When elderly parents have low income, the burden often falls on their children, causing more stress on caregivers, more economic pressure. This added pressure can increase frustration and the risk of abuse. Third, chronic illness and disabilities. Elderly individuals with chronic illnesses or disabilities often rely on others for daily care. This constant need for support can be overwhelming for caregivers. This pressure can lead to abuse. Lastly, busy and distracted children. Nowadays, children live in modern life or big cities, meaning that they are distracted with their work, family, and city life. Plus, with the distance from their home and elderly parents' home, which can cause emotional and care neglect to elderly. Consequences of elderly abuse. Emotional harm and fear. Abuse creates insecurity, vulnerability, and learned helplessness. Verbal, emotional, or physical abuse makes elders feel unsafe, even in their own homes. Some may become aggressive as a defense. And elderly feel powerless and stop seeking help as they believe nothing will change. Depression. Depression is common in elderly abuse, but often overlooked. Common signs that occur are persistent sadness, loss of interest, change of sleep and appetite. Often mistaken as normal aging, abuse worsens feelings of worthlessness and isolation, PTSD, shame and guilt. Trauma symptoms can appear after being abused, such as flashback, nightmares, and anxiety. Elderly may feel ashamed or blame themselves. This leads to withdrawal and silence. Physical injury. Physical injuries can limit mobility and independence. Bruises, broken bones, and chronic pains. Causing loss of function adds to helplessness and mental stress. Management of elderly abuse in Malaysia. Malaysia has key laws to combat elder abuse. The Domestic Violence Act, 1994, and the Malaysian Penal Code are used to protect victims and punish abusers, especially in financial exploitation cases. Despite these laws, many cases go unreported. But why? Elderly victims may feel fear of revenge, ashamed, afraid of retaliation, or simply unaware of their legal rights. As a result, abuse often stays hidden. To respond more effectively, Malaysia launched the PEACE initiative in 2014. It brings together healthcare workers, social welfare officers, and police to protect the elderly through a coordinated approach. During the COVID-19 pandemic, many were left without food, medicine, or proper care. Social isolation made it worse by cutting off emotional support from family and increasing feelings of loneliness. As adult children move to cities or overseas for work and study, many elderly are left behind, alone. Without their spouse and without support, they face emotional neglect. Some say they feel empty, like there's no one left to talk to, no one who understands them. Sandwich generation adults caught between caring for their children and their elderly parents. Some caregivers facing financial hardship may turn to their elderly parents' savings as a form of financial abuse. Substance abuse among caregivers is another serious issue linked to elder abuse. It not only leads to emotional harm, but can result in physical violence and financial exploitation. Some caregivers, driven by addiction, manipulate or harm their elderly parents to get money for drugs.